All right, gentlemen. Well, it's just the guys today. Why don't we go around the horn? Everybody just share who you are real quick, what you do. Just Mike, I'll let you take lead.
So name's Mike Kim. I'm located here in North Atlanta. But my space is in the retail space. So, multi-tenant, single tenant retail space in North Atlanta is my primary focus. With Eric's help, have gotten into, some land development as well here over the last about 3 to 6 months as well. So that's kind of my bucket.
Michael?
Sure. Mike Wiseman, I'm up in Maine. I just came over from to the EXP commercial on the residential side. So I've been involved with commercial on and off for the last year or so, mostly with recruiting and growing an organization. About 100, a little over 100 agents right now in my EXP organization. I'm hybridizing my team. I run an icon team. We up to 100 transactions a year residential side and really want to now leverage the relationships between residential to commercial so I can take the commercial side of things and run with that. And let my son, I have 6 kids, five in EXP, that my son Rob is running the residential team and he'll carry on with that.
Yeah, he's super sharp. He was with you when I met you first in Nashville.
That was my son. I think that was Ben. So yeah, he
Huh.
is sharp, but Ben is my AI kind of high tech son, and Rob is the one that does development, land construction, things of that nature. So we have a small construction company too. We do some tractors and skid steers and things like that for building small buildings. So, but I'm excited about pushing it to the commercial side of things. So I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity there in the next 12 months for that.
It's great to have you here and your experience with us. Greg Mix is our non-real estate guy participating. It's third week in a row. Greg, say hello, share with people what you
Yeah,
do.
I'm an architect in Atlanta, 71 years old. I've been doing this a long time. I do have some real estate experience. My father was a broker in Dayton, Ohio when I was growing up. And I used to help in the office, keeping the MLS forms filed away properly. Back when they were in two-ring binders and printed out of paper, showing my age. So I'd like to learn more about the commercial real estate end and, of course, try to generate some business for myself. I think we could be of use to each other. We do all types of commercial, restaurants, bars, offices, multifamily. A lot of adaptive reuse and code review is something we'd like to do going in, see what's going to take to bring a building up to code, and then help you get a permit in Atlanta. And that's about it.
Good to have you on the call.
Uh,
Met you at a Contractors, Closers, and Connections event. I tell you
yeah,
what, to you guys sitting here in the chat, I put a Word document. If you're able, open it and print it out while we're going around the horn because I'm going to have everybody refer to it. So it's a Word document. If you go ahead and print it out, and I'm going to give each of you when I talk about it. That way you have a
Uh,
copy of it in your hands as we're talking. Um,
Eric, I still don't see it.
it should be in the chat.
And it depends when you posted it when we came in. So I don't see it either.
Really?
Yeah,
yeah.
Right. Oh, it's because I didn't hit the send button.
it also could be why.
Yeah, that could be why.
Okay, there it is.
I uploaded it, but I didn't hit send. Mr. Chris Laban, tell us who you are again. Good to see you, buddy.
What's up, buddy? I'm only here for a short time this morning, so I just wanted to jump on and say hello. But for the guys that don't know me, I built a network that's designed to connect real estate agents, real estate investors, say funders, anybody essentially in the real estate space. And I have groups all across the country with about 600,000 members, with Tennessee being my largest at like 230 to 240,000. So they're just essentially places for networking and people to connect, especially if they have deals, idea. You post a deal that you have for sale. It might be on the MLS or it might not be on the MLS. People around the country, Canada, Mexico, or in that particular state can see the deals and then they try to connect and, purchase the properties, etc. So I just pretty much run a network across the country doing that.
So let me hit the pause button right there and take a break for a second. Michael, Islam, Mr. Kim, a real advantage to knowing Chris is if you come across and you're talking to them about, coming on board and being a part of your rev share and growing your team together, Chris can bring something to them and you all can work together in a co-sponsor relationship. He can bring something to them that nobody else is going to bring to them. Well, that's not correct. He can bring something to them that very few can, and that is increased deal flow, increased transactions, increase opportunities to see properties that are available. So he's a really great resource for attracting residential agents. And then Greg, for you, his agents across the Southeast and elsewhere be a great place for them to know about a good architect and someone's designing a home, right? Boom, they can contact you. So Greg, you ought to reach out to Chris and talk about how that you could have a presence on his pages to go after residential agents who's are looking to design and build, have an architect. So a lot of collaboration can take place there.
Oh yeah. I mean, Chris, if you want to,
Islam.
Yeah.
Yeah, and share it in the link. Islam, why don't you round us out and give us an overview of yourself, buddy?
Sure. I joined the EXP commercial back end of October. I don't have a area of expertise, but it seems to be that it's pointing me to the direction of land and industrial. Looking to that's been a couple of conversations, and this is what I'm looking to accomplish over the next couple of weeks. I'm glad to join the group and to learn and understand and to collaborate with you guys. The beauty about it, given the multiple conversations that I had, it's very broad. It opens the S nationwide. So I'm in North Carolina, South Carolina market, licensed in both of these states, but I can work with you guys whenever and however. Happy to be here.
Good to have you here. Everybody able to print out the document or see the document?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So, Mr. Wiseman, I'm going to let you take point number 1. Mr. Sachlaben, I'll let you take 2. Mr. Kim, I'll let you take number 3. And Islam, I'll let you take number 4. And Greg, you get to jump in whenever you want to.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about, here's the lead question before we get into we want to talk about deal flow and how deal flow actually becomes a transaction. Okay. There's an art to this. It's psychology. It's the deal. So here's a question. Where do your deals usually stall? Access, clarity, credibility, or structure? Greg, why don't you take a first stab at that? Where do your deals usually stall? Access, clarity, credibility, or structure? Because the same approach would apply to you because you're in a service business.
Where do they stall? Good question. Usually lack of communication, getting the client to understand what's involved with the project, in terms of construction drawings, construction costs, and permitting, building codes, energy codes. A lot has to go into it. And if you got a client who's inexperienced, there's a lot of hand-holding involved.
So it'd be clarity and credibility because there's a lack of good communication, a lack of clarity. It's going to take away from your credibility, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes clients just don't want to listen. That's why it's better to get a more experienced client, someone who's already done, work in the commercial area. I've done a lot of high-end residential, but it's very stressful.
So this conversation that we're going to talk about, it's really walking through the mechanics of the transaction, not just finding opportunities. And I think I'm trying to be more intentional with the opportunities in front of me and bring more intentionality to that one opportunity. It's not that I need more opportunities. I need more intentional effort with the one that's in front of me. So, Michael, I think I teed you up first. Talk to us about, as you read that, number 1, deal flow is not leads. Read it, read the sentence, the bullet points, and tell us what your thoughts are as you read that.
Sure. Deal flow is not leads. Deal flow is qualified, permission-based conversations with people who control land, capital, or decision-making, are open to being guided, not sold, and have a reason to act within a window of time. You don't need more leads. You need fewer, better conversations. My thoughts on that are 100% agreement. I mean, we get a lot on the residential side. People often they'll confuse leads with actual prospects. And, we call them tire kickers, for example. People is just not really looking a motivated buyer to sell. So, and any type of prospecting that I do, even for my residential side, I've always focused on listings. I'm a listing focused agent. I've worked with 2 residential buyers in 8 years. literally, out of hundreds and hundreds of transactions. So I'm always looking to make direct calls to the people who own property and then find if there's an opportunity for us to solve a problem that they may have, which is it didn't sell the first time, for example, or they need to sell it for whatever reason. And then the window of time, which is a motivation, is really important because I've often trained, when I train my agents as listing agents, one thing myself saying a lot is we don't actually list houses or properties, we list people, we list sellers. And all anybody that's long enough on the residential side, maybe the commercial too, maybe the similar experience, you can tell me it's I've listed properties, not listed a seller. These are the guys that I have one guy right now. He wants he'll take $2 million. He's been raising his price for 3 years. It keeps getting higher and higher. And he's in Kennebunkport, Maine, which is a nice spot. Property's worth 1.2, 1.3 in a day. He's up to 2 million right now. I've just got sort of ignore him right now because he's not a seller, right? He's a good friend, but he's not really a seller. He's a listing, but he's not a seller. So that motivation, that window of time, a need to, in our space, it might be the loan maturing, right? This coming year, it creates urgency. Without that sense of urgency or a need to act, they can drag it out forever and never really respond to us. And we don't have time in the day to, we have a limited amount of time as professionals to deal with the people who are closer to the money, closer to the transaction, that have an actual need, not just a want.
I think one of the things you want to do immediately out of the gate is qualified permission-based conversations. Who's the person that controls the asset? Who's the person that controls the land? Who's the person that controls the house? Who's the person that controls the decision making? You need to make sure you're identifying that immediately. Otherwise, you're spinning your wheels. I like the thought of you're listing people. Not how do you go about having fewer but better conversations, Michael?
That is almost always spending the time to think about who you're going to call before you call them. I think the time that you in your research, whatever your sources are for that, is going to be some of my thinking. So, for example, I'll prospect. I subscribe every month. It's $300 a month. I have all the expired listings in multiple MLSs. That's commercial and residential. I call all these people as opposed to randomly calling, right? And I think in our space, it would be looking at on CoStar, searching for who's got the loans that coming due, maturity coming due. So you can focus down your time it's probabilities. It's the more things that would qualify someone to be most likely need to sell. If I'm looking to buy properties or I'm looking to do owner financing or do some creative financing, I want people to have high equity. Right? If they're fully leveraged on a residential deal, it's not much, maybe they're upside down, something like that. I can't help them very much, right? So we're looking for out-of-state owners in my space is when I call multifamilies and see if they're tired of owning a multi-state, small individual multi-state owners are often just burned out and can't get property management and that sort of thing. So I know they got some problems that I'm likely to come in that will require them to, or motivate them to be sellers.
Yeah. I don't know if you all were paying attention to everything he was saying there. There was a lot of wisdom, everything he just said there.
Yep.
I think one of the things that struck out to me was you mentioned, Michael, the research you do prior to meeting with them. That's paramount. That allows you to be informed about the piece of asset, the property asset before you're in front of them. Then you got to find out what their needs are, what there's why, what's their timing, story. If you know the backdrop of the property, you know the analytics of the property, you know what's going on in the market. Now, when you personalize that and you get to meet them, you get to learn about them, you get to find out what's important to them, when it's important to them, you have all the information. So a lot of good stuff there. Mike, you could teach a class on your answer. Great input. All right, who did I give? Thanks for that. Who did I give number 2 to?
I think you wanted me to read it.
All right, Chris, take the floor.
Every transaction passes through 4 gates. If it stalls, it's stuck at a gate. The first one's access. Do you have the right person at the table? Clarity. Do you understand what they own? Or do they understand what they own, want, can realistically do? Do they trust you to the process for credibility? Structure. Is there a clear path? LOI, PSA, execution. No gate equals no closing.
Chris, relay that to, in your business and your sign business, there's got to be similarities.
Yeah,
so walk us through what that means to you and which one stands out to you the most and why.
I mean, I'll roll through them. The first one, access. A lot of times you're talking with people and you might think they're the actual decision maker, but they're not. You know, they might be the front person. So one of the things I always try to do is make sure I'm getting to the person that can really make decisions, you know, because that way it saves you a ton of time. Clarity, are they rational? Are they delusional? Because a lot of times people think what they have is worth a whole lot more than what it actually is, but it could go the flip way. They might not even realize the value of what they had, especially if it has, you know, like Tommy, minerals and stuff like that. It could be worth a whole lot more. If they don't have the right guy that they're working with, he can't guide them to make the correct decisions, whether it's high or low credibility. I would just say there's a lot of people doing a lot of deals and they're not all legit. So I would think you want to make sure you're working with somebody who's, you know, who can stand what they do and they have a track record. People like to work with them. Their deals go through. And then structures are a clear path, execution. Once again, I come back. I mean, is this really going to work? You know, or is this just like a dream in the clouds, you know, trying to think this process is going to work. So make sure it's actually feasible before you.
This these four gates. As I put this together, I thought about an opportunity that's come to me. Here's how it came to me. A year and a half ago, I'm out looking at a piece of property, potential property to get a listing for. Someone tipped me off on 50 some acres in Gwinnett County. So I drove to look at the property. After I looked at the property, I drove to surrounding properties. As I saw surrounding properties, I saw one that was being developed with electrical coming underneath it. The roads are in. I see this guy who's on site and a Corvette pulled up beside him, rolled down my window in the rain and said, told him I'd trade cars with him. We started talking. Come to find out, he's the electrical contractor putting in all the conduit underneath for the community to come in and be built. So in talking to him in the rain, just because I'm out looking at a piece of property, because now I'm looking and I'm studying the surrounding area of the property, I meet this guy and he says, you know, by the way, he says, we've got a really nice property we may want to sell. So tell me about it. So he did. And when he told me about it, I thought, oh, is that the same piece of property that I'm aware of? And we chatted. This was a year and a half ago. I've texted him probably 30, 40 times, tried to call him on a few occasions. And 2 weeks ago, he met me finally for coffee with his brother.
Ooh.
And so sometimes you have access, but you can't get to the table. So persistence gets you to the table. Then I got to the table. When I came to the table, there was clarity. I made sure I understood what they wanted to do, and I made sure they understood what I could do for them. So I listened to their story. I asked for a follow-up, right? Bam, fam, book another meeting following a meeting, bam, fam. So I asked for an immediate fam, another meeting. And I told him, here was the bait I put in front of him. Has anybody ever given you a full evaluation of broker opinion of value of your property so you're more informed? He said, no one's ever done that for us before. So I'll do that for you. I said, then let's get together and talk. Absolutely. I'm bringing them added value. I wasn't asking for anything, just for another meeting so I could show them added value by showing them an evaluation of their property. So over the next week, I did a very thorough study of their property. I pulled all the comps, put up a report, and when I drove to meet him the next day, I had it. And I put it in a nice, package and had a cover letter in there. Gave him what I thought he could take his property to market for. And here's a story that you can take to every developer, and you can support why your property is worth this. Here's a story that we can support it. Now, we may not get that, but we can support it. He's all over it. Tells me I'm getting the listing. It's a $35, $40 million listing, one of the premier pieces of property in the county. But access, it took a while to get it. Persistence and being consistent finally got me in front of him. Clarity, I understood what he need, what his time frame is, and what his expectations are. And then I brought the same to him. I established credibility by the BAM fam, book a meeting from a meeting, and I brought him the evaluation. So I brought added value. That gave me credibility. In his words, nobody else had done that for him. So now structure, I've got a clear path to not get an LOI or PSA, but I got a clear path to get an exclusive listing, which then we, want to get to an LOI and PSA. So got to go through the gates. Got to go through the gates. Islam, did I tee you up for transacting is about reducing uncertainty?
You told me number 4.
I'm actually number 3,
Jump to
Eric.
Mr.
That's
Kim.
me.
My bad, Mr. Kim. Mike, take us through point 3.
Yeah, so transacting is about reducing uncertainty. Uncertainty, deals don't die because of price. They die because of fear of entitlement risk, fear of time drag, fear of being deceived, fear of making the wrong decision. Your job isn't pressure. It's certainly certainty creation.
Walk us through that, Mike. What
Yeah.
sticks out? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so actually the bottom two kind of sticks out to me a little bit before the top two, Eric. Just my perspective, I think the fear of being deceived, that's something that clients in some cases kind of are standoffish about. Hey, do they trust you? Do you have integrity? Are you going to provide them the right information to make the correct decision, and so forth? So I think, in my opinion, I think uh, the being kind of genuine and upfront with the owners or whoever you're kind of dealing with, I think is very important, the integrity component of it to kind of combat that. The second part of it is going to be fear of making the wrong decision. So this kind of goes with a lot of different folks, whether they're clients or myself, et cetera. But hey, am I making the right decision? Do I need data to make this decision correctly? What can I provide you that can help you make this decision? Here's all the data that kind of backs that information up,
Yep.
et cetera. So those are kind of the things that stand out. Obviously, the fear of time drag is another component. And obviously, from our perspective, kind of kills deals in a lot of cases. So, hey, how do we combat that? So we got to provide information on why the time drag can sometimes be detrimental in some cases, and sometimes, hey, we need time to kind of do the right due diligence, et cetera, perspective. So those are some of the components that stick out to me.
So in that gate, in this point three about reducing uncertainty, how do you reduce the certainty and how do you create certainty?
Just from an overall perspective. Yeah, so for me, it's all data. You have the right data, you got to kind of present and so forth. So I'm very data driven. So for example, if retail space is going for this rate in a certain part of town, you got to kind of provide that data to kind of support that information from that side. So kind of what I'm seeing is like these spaces are going for this price per square foot or square foot, et cetera. So you got to kind of provide that information and data. So very data driven.
You know, I gave an example of access and had contact with somebody, but I really couldn't get in front of him and have the conversation I needed. So in this transacting and reducing uncertainty, there was probably some uncertainty there. Well, one of the tools you can use that I use to have a positive touch, bringing added value. They say it's normally 7 to 8 to 9 touches with somebody before you can get them to take steps with you, right? So you can positively reach and touch somebody here and educate them at the same time, bring clarity, bring credibility, show structure, and maintain access and begin to reduce uncertainty by doing this right here. This is a gold nugget for everybody. When you're reaching and talking to that client, and Greg, this applies to you, show the timetable. Chris, you're doing signs, right? Show the timetable to execute. Mike, going to be doing maybe land deals. Show the client, hey, if we get it, if we get it listed and we get a purchase sales agreement, here's a timetable. 60 to 90 days for due diligence, 3 to 5 months for zoning, another 8 to 10, maybe for entitlements, 30 days to close. Create a chart, show the milestones, then incorporate into that, the payments of escrow that might change upon each one of those milestones. I like to see increased earnest money per milestone event. It's friendlier to the developer. Our role, we need to be able to talk to the client knowing the developer's language. We also need to be able to talk to the developer or the buyer or the end user representing our client's needs, feelings, and emotions. We have to talk. We have to have both those conversations. I'm going to be able to sit in front of the people that I've been entrusted, the ownership I've been entrusted to list for. I need to be able to speak to them the way the developers will speak to them. I've got to educate them and inform them. Your property is going to go through this sale. Here's the steps. Here's the milestones. Purchase sales agreement. It gets negotiated. Signing, earnest money goes hard. More of it goes hard after the due diligence. More goes hard after the zoning. More goes hard after the LDP. So you may not have the client yet, but Greg, you could reach out to them. Carson, you haven't turned on your screen yet, but you can reach out to that would-be client and you can create a positive touch with them, maintaining access with them, because now you're informing them with the time. You just brought credibility, you just brought clarity, you just separated yourself from other people because you gave them something that they say, hey, when I go through this guy knows these steps and he's informing me. So some of reducing the uncertainty is to bring the certainty. One of the ways I do it is I show them on a Word document what does a purchase sales agreement look like going through land entitlement. I share that with them and they see it. Yeah, it's subject to change. There's penalties. There's different things that come into place, right? It's been a really powerful tool for me. Islam, you got to wrap up. Deal flow multiplies when you become a translator. Talk to us about it.
Well, I can speak to it from a theoretical or semi-theoretical or business, not the commercial, because I haven't transacted in the commercial space yet. But I can talk about the risk of the process and the owner's emotion and whatnot. I was very fortunate, like in the last Friday, I got the seller an agreement for a food processing company to sell their properties in South Carolina and Marlborough County. And I had conversations with a couples moving from Vermont to Charlotte area that they need my help to acquire a business. And then they called me after 2 conversations to talk about if I can help them to sell their business in Vermont. So I can tell you about the emotional connection and understanding where they're coming from and how that build the credibility and the connection that it's much needed to de-risk and get them to like you and trust you and want to work with you. When I had the first conversation with them coming from, or they want to come from Vermont, I told them, listen, I've moved around. I came from Egypt. I told them a little bit about my story and the importance of understanding all what it takes to relocate from one state to another, country to another, place to another, because I moved a lot. And I would be taking care of them. I understand their emotional need, their uncertainty, their fear of the move itself, and I tried to ease their nerves. I told them that I will treat this transaction as if I'm buying for myself, and I will go and visit the properties and tell them what I think about it. I'll give them all the facts. It's their decision to make, but I will go visit, check, and let them know from my perspective, this is I would do if I'm in your place. That just did break the wall and just fell in love with it and said, okay, that's fine, how we can move forward. With the land and the business, the food processing place that I just got, at the Leah was here and I visited the location and we went together, visited the location, took pictures, talked about it. I made quite a few phone calls. Is the prep work before talking to the client that you mentioned? So when I send them saying, hey, this is the strategy from my perspective, this is what I can see for this place, and we need to break it down into not just one transaction, but maybe 2 transactions, and start painting a picture and tell them a story about it, that I care about them and about their business, and I'm looking for their best interest. Start having conversations with the local authorities to understand some of the dynamics within the community. It took them some time to get back to me with the signed contract, with the signed agreement. But bear to mind, I send them a draft and say, this is what I think, let's talk. And they just signed it and said, no, that's fine, you go ahead. It was really awesome.
You translated a lot of added value there.
And I did pretty much the same. And I just got an email while we're talking, confirming that I'll be representing a buyer representation to buy a land for a solar farm. Before I spent a lot of time trying to understand what is the solar farm business, how to qualify a land, what are the big gatekeepers per se, or the critical points to understand to validate the land. And I figured out it's pretty much the interconnection with the grid and the zoning. So I digged a little bit to have the conversation with the potential client I'm a broker or a realtor or whatever in his mind he has. I'm a consultant. I can guide him through a little bit more than the land itself and assist in some of the conversation with the technicalities if need be. So I haven't closed any deals, but I think I'm on track applying some of these principles.
So read the last sentence there at the end of this point, and what's the word that you just, what's the word that's what you did? Read the sentence first and tell us the word that you just did. You became.
The broker who explains the past becomes indispensable. Yes, I think I just yeah.
Claim it. Claim it, own it, go do it. Indispensable to the client. Become
Yep.
indispensable to the client. That's what you did. Great job. All right. Closing thought. Transactions are not won on the LOI. All right. They're won in the months before when the trust is built and the clarity is created. It's the due diligence, goes to the meeting. He's already done the research. Greg, I know you're going into meetings with clients and you have all the engineering and drafting and work to show them before you sit with them. When they've given you an idea of what they want, you want to sit in front of them and blow them away with what you've put to paper. And with that, you build trust, build clarity. That's a path forward. So it's not about more conversations. It's about better conversations. Where deals normally stall, either because of lack of access, lack of clarity, lack of credibility, or the lack of structure. It was a good conversation. Appreciate everybody's feedback. Real quick, let's go around the horn. I've recently been brought into some groups outside of the state of, but from Tennessee to New York, Florida, where I'm being asked, hey, we've got a project, we've got 120 million going over here, but we're looking for another 5 or 10 million. So I'm starting to source some private equity for some developers. Also know where some private equity is looking to go. So if anything like that resonates with you, or if you know of a project that's got some stressed debt package to it, maybe I can help you do something. Somebody else, real quick. This is deal flow conversation.
Yeah, I'll go, Eric. I've
Same
been in
applies to
contact.
architecture.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, all this, well, what we're talking about all applies to my business too. You got to have that clarity with the client, and you've got to do your homework. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh, I have been having a few conversations with some mid-sized data center companies over the past few months. One in particular is either an existing warehouse or land here locally in the Georgia market for that. So if anybody has any kind of leads or anything like that in that, please reach out to me pertaining to that.
Great, Mike.
Okay.
Next.
I'll go, I guess. So as I just shared briefly, I'm looking now to sell a food processing facility that has been abandoned. So it has the land and the facility, two pieces of it or two buildings. One was burned down in Wallace in Marlborough County. So if someone is looking for warehouse for processing facility, food processing facility, any of flex industrial or lighter, in South Carolina, I'll be happy to have the conversation with.
Send me the link on that.
Okay, I'll send you the address. I'm still playing with it.
All right, to wrap up, Carson or Michael,
Eric,
got a one?
Anybody with multifamily owners running around with spreadsheets, not knowing where to go, looks like a lost dog, bring them to me and we talk. I have a friend that's looking to develop flex industrial. He's looking for funding, private equity. It's development, but a lot of them like the NOI attached to it, but still you can probably make more developing. So anyway. Other than that, I don't have anything. So,
Carson, where is that?
Tennessee. I'm in the Nashville area. I need to add to that. Developing flex space, preferably up and around the Knoxville area. Tend to think it'll have more value. You have the data centers going up into Oak Ridge. The Department of Energy approved the Oak Ridge. They're putting it up there. But anyway. there'll be a lot of demand for that kind of space. So smaller, think 50,000 or less square feet, broken up into flex, but 50 to 100,000 per building.
All right, Michael, you get to round us out.
I don't have two commercial deals. I have one agent in my group he's got he's working on like a 16 unit. It's owned by a town in Connecticut, West Hartford. It's currently looking for some buyers, or it's already a built project, but details on it right now. But 15, 16 units, residential units. We have an empty restaurant in Biddeford, Maine on Route 1, which is kind of a touristy area. It's a good area, high traffic, but it's kind of a fire sale because it's a closed restaurant that shut down quickly. So, but she paid $9 for it 2 years ago, so we'll get something over 400 for it right now. But I've just started working on that. So
Send me what you got on that 14 unit.
yeah, I'm happy to connect you with
I got it. Came across my desk this morning. Guy says Eric, sweet spot's 14 units or more. So perfect.
Okay, yeah, this is it's in a good town in Connecticut. So one of my agents, my rev share group is a residential agent, and Jeff Clark, who's our commercial broker up here. We don't really
Yeah,
have anyone.
I know Jeff.
Are you licensed in Connecticut by any chance, Eric, or no?
Yeah, I know Jeff. He's a hustler. Yeah,
Yeah,
send me what you got on that, and I'll forward to not related to my knowledge.
Okay. Do you have a Connecticut license by any chance, or no?
No.
No. Anybody here have a Connecticut license? We have very few agents in Connecticut license. That's one of the issues I have with connecting with the right person. But I'll connect you. Thanks, Eric.
Well, listen, gentlemen, it's a privilege to see all of you guys, and have a great
Likewise.
week. And think about your being more intentional with the conversations you're having. Bring greater access, better clarity, credibility, and structure. All right.